The year was 2018. The world economy was alive with energy. Global trade booming, supply chains humming, and markets reaching record highs. Goods zipped across oceans and continents, flowing from Chinese factories to American homes, from European car makers to U.S. highways. Then, everything shifted. A wave of tariffs surged out of Washington, D.C., shocking the global economy. Suddenly, billions in imports faced new taxes. Long-standing trade norms were upended. At the heart of this disruption stood Donald J. Trump, a businessman who brought to the presidency a worldview forged in deals and competition, not diplomacy. He saw trade as a battleground, and America, in his eyes, had been losing. For decades, the U.S. had embraced free trade. But while consumers benefited from cheaper goods, American factories closed, jobs disappeared overseas, and heartland towns faded. Trump tapped into a growing resentment and offered a different path. Tariffs, once seen as outdated, were reintroduced with force. Steel and aluminum imports were hit. Then washing machines, solar panels, electronics, autos. No one was spared, not even allies. It was bold, it was disruptive, and it was intentional. Trump believed the global system had been rigged, other countries exploiting America's openness while ignoring fairness. Tariffs weren't just taxes, they were leverage, a signal that the U.S. was done playing nice. Nowhere was this battle more intense than with China. Once a low-cost producer, China had become an economic superpower. American companies saw their ideas copied, patents ignored, and products undercut. Accusations flew, currency manipulation, forced tech transfers, intellectual theft. This wasn't just trade, it was economic warfare. Tariffs on hundreds of billions in goods followed. China retaliated. American farmers, caught in the crossfire, watched as exports vanished. Crops piled up, prices dipped, aid packages followed to keep them afloat. The impacts rippled. Manufacturers faced higher costs. Retailers hesitated. Consumers began to feel the pinch. Economists warned of inflation. Still, the message remained. This was necessary pain for long-term gain. Trump's approach was about more than dollars. It was about identity, sovereignty, declaring that America would no longer be bound by the rules of global trade it hadn't written or couldn't revise. Critics called it reckless. Supporters saw it as a reset. New trade deals emerged. NAFTA was replaced. Talks with China restarted. Factories reconsidered outsourcing. But the trade deficit, it barely budged. The strategy had costs. Investment slowed. Supply chains fractured. And when the pandemic hit, those cracks widened. The world saw just how fragile globalization had become. Today, the legacy of Trump's tariffs is still unfolding. They challenged the status quo, forced conversations about fairness, independence, and control. Whether they brought back jobs or simply reshuffled them remains debated. But there's no denying it. They reshaped how the world sees trade, not just as an economic transaction, but as a statement of power, of priorities, of national will. Tariffs were never just about protecting products. They were about protecting a position, a way of life, a belief that America could and should play by its own rules. Trump made that force visible. He didn't invent the problems, but he gave them a voice. And now, that voice echoes through boardrooms and barns, across borders and ballots. In the end, maybe the tariff war wasn't about trade at all. Maybe it was about control, about taking the wheel of a car moving too fast down an unknown road, about deciding finally who gets to write the rules, whether it was the right path or a detour into chaos. Only time will tell. But one thing is clear. The world heard America loud and clear. And it's still trying to figure out how to respond. Love him or hate him, Trump's tariffs were more than just taxes. They were a statement, a challenge to globalization, a redefinition of American trade policy. So the big question is, were they bold brilliance or economic backlash?